pick on the middle people because they know they're the
That's
chickens.
true, too. Yeah, they do that.
And then 9 months later, they found his other boot 900 yards away in a swamp.
I guess, I mean, his boot could have fallen off too, I guess. Or got stuck.
Yeah, if he jumped the fence and ran to the swamp and was running and his boot got stuck in the mud and he just kept running, but what was he running from?
Yeah, what was he running from? And it does seem like he had to have quietly emptied his pockets first. So there was some intention.
This wasn't prison. Like, what is he doing?
That is weird.
If you don't like your job, just quit.
Yeah, that's super weird.
You don't have to run off into the woods.
Right. I don't understand.
What if he just walked away to pee?
And then what? And then he was taken?
They would have seen him. I don't know. And they never found him. They never found any traces of him beyond the boots.
Yeah, I don't understand. Maybe he was so tired of his job. It's like, I'm getting the fuck out of here. I'm gonna live in the forest.
Yeah, but... Yeah.
I don't know. How far is 900 yards? We don't know anything.
I think it's a lot.
Yeah, I think it is a lot.
I'm gonna look up how many yards in a mile.
Oh. Isn't that like... Oh, I'm thinking feet, I guess.
It's like half a mile.
Okay.
There's 1760 yards in a mile. So like half a mile.
Huh.
Ish.
Yeah, I kind of feel like he was running from something.
Right?
I don't know. That is weird. I don't know. I often go off the trail. I often go missing, I guess, though.
What?
Like when I'm in a group, I don't know. I'm just thinking of... I feel like I was telling people at work about Missing 411. Like when we went to California, and I'm telling all the guys about Missing 411. And then we were like walking around a town and I saw a mural like down an alley. So like I'm in the back because I walk the slowest. So I like go down this alley to get a picture of the mural. And I guess they all like turned around and was like, where the fuck is Sarah? Like I just went missing. And then I like pop back out and I was like, oh, I thought you guys like wouldn't notice. Like I thought I could be fast enough so they wouldn't notice. But like since we were talking about
See,
this,
that's why I'm like, but why would he?
I mean, I could see him going to pee, but yeah, then I feel like he ran, though.
Why empty your pockets? Unless they're, like, not allowed to stop.
Take down his pants.
And that's embarrassing.
That he ran away from embarrassing.
Yeah, maybe he shit himself and he didn't want it. But we wouldn't go missing.
Right, but you wouldn't just run into the forest and never be found again.
I think you'd stop when you got hung up in the bark. How do you lose your boot in a fence and not scream or yell or like, oh?
Yeah. Right. How are you gonna be totally
Or were they... Also, do we know for a fact that they didn't gang up on him? We don't.
Kill him?
Conspiracy. Or chase him?
I guess, yeah. I mean...
Maybe someone showed up with a gun.
I mean, anything could have happened.
So don't you dare make a sound. I know, literally anything.
But it is weird that everything in his pockets were on the road.
Yeah, like there's no like Occam's razor in this. Like there is no easy logical explanation.
Right.
That makes sense.
Yeah, not really. Because you'd think if he ran too, he wouldn't just empty his pockets either. Like if he was afraid of something.
Right. Right. Who takes the time to set stuff down? Maybe it was a joke, though. What if it was just like a haha funny joke? They turn around and look back and he's gone and then something actually happened.
But what?
I don't know.
Also, you'd think it, I mean, if he was afraid and running, like, wouldn't he, I feel like if I'm afraid of something and I'm with 3 other people, I would, like, yell or something. Like, I'd say, hey, look at that, or like, you know, get the group together. Like, if you see something that you're afraid of, you wouldn't just start taking off when you're with other people.
Right.
Yeah, there really is no, like,
Right.
simple explanation for any of these.
Yeah. And David Paulides never really pushes any agenda as far as what could have happened. He only states the facts of the case and leaves it up to the reader to decide what happened. And he said that no one has ever read all of the books and come back to him and given him like a logical explanation that covers all of them.
Yeah, but I guess you wouldn't have to give an explanation that covers every single one of them, though.
No, he won't even talk general every case. He'll talk case by case and say, well, no this, no because this, no because that. There's no signs of this, there's not. Like, he can argue every case because he's studied them.
So if you came with like, oh, I think with this case, this is what happened, then he could be like, but what about this or whatever.
Right. Okay. Right. And here's my favorite part. I have a personal story about this. And to be clear, nothing ended up happening, but it was pretty mysterious. And we joke that it's like my mom almost got missing 411, as I would say. So my family was staying in Presque Isle, Wisconsin, which is up on the northern border of Wisconsin, and it's on the border of Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula of Michigan, not like super far from Lake Superior. And we were up there so my dad and brother could go snowmobiling, and this was in the winter. I want to say like January or February. Yeah. And while they were out snowmobiling, my boyfriend at the time, my mom, and I decided to go snowshoeing while we were out on the trails. And I literally called my mom today to ask her where we went. I looked at a list of possible places, like snowshoeing trails in that area, and she and I think it was Van Vliet Hemlocks. I said, does this sound right? And she said, yeah. And I said, if I had said something else, would it have sounded right? And she said, no, I think that was it. And I remember talking about hemlocks at the time, because I could not tell you what a hemlock tree looked like until I looked it up. And I was like, yeah, I do think that it was like, hemlocks are like an evergreen, like a pine tree looking thing. And they're huge. And I think it's Vliet. Van Vliet probably is a 400-acre natural area that features an old-growth hemlock forest, which I guess is really rare, like, to have this forest that's, like, pretty much untouched. And they're really old, and they were huge. Like, now that I'm thinking about them, like, they were huge trees. And it's also on a lake called Van Vliet Lake.
Okay. Probably someone's last name, I guess.
Yes. Yeah, I feel like it was a family who owned that property at some point. And for those people who are not super familiar with snowshoeing, you usually have your snowshoes and your winter boots or whatever, and then you have poles to help you walk up and down hills and like for stability, because they're pretty wide. Like, you don't just walk normal with a snowshoe. You kind of have to drag your feet, and you just have like sticks, poles, whatever you want to call them. So we had our snowshoes and our poles, and we're walking, and like thinking back about it, I really, really distinctly remember that the woods were like dead silent, which is weird because even in the winter you would hear like birds or like squirrels, or just, there's a lot going on in a forest that you would hear. I wrote, the forest is pretty loud if you listen hard enough.
That's true.
But it was so quiet.
Yeah.
And with the snow does like dampen sound a little bit, so you didn't hear like road noises. I mean, there's not many people out there anyway. This is really rural. Like Presque Isle, hold on.
I remember you saying, even at the time, how it was like dead silent when this was happening.
Yeah. Presque Isle is a town of 8,000 people, and this was quite a far ways out of town. So there's just not people. So I don't think I like registered while we were walking how quiet it was until a certain moment that we'll get to later. But thinking back about it, I remember like, wow, that was really weird. So we're walking and we get to a part of the trail that was like, there was a big hill, and at the top of the hill you walked a little bit further and the trail split, and you could either go like the long way or directly back to the car. I mean, there was still quite a bit of trail left, but it was like it had come to a fork. So we get to the top of the trail, or top of the hill, and the hill was also on a curve. So like a curved hill, and then the trail split. And one of us, I think it was me, realized that the basket on the end of our poles, and a basket is like a plastic, it's a disc that goes on the end of your pole to keep it from sinking into the ground when you put it down. Oh, I should have grabbed, I found it. I could have had a visual because I found it in my jacket pocket at some point, and then I put it in a basket.
I mean,
that I just found while I was moving.
I know what it looks like.
But yeah, so I noticed that it had fallen off my pole, or maybe it was Mark, maybe it was my mom. I don't know. I have the basket, which makes me think it was mine. But so we noticed that it's missing, and I'm like, oh dang, we should go back and find it. I don't know why I didn't just say leave it, but so my mom is like, I am not walking down that hill just to walk back up it again. Like, that is not happening. She's like, you guys go back for it, I'm just gonna keep moving on ahead. So we start walking down the hill, and Mark is obviously faster than me.
He's got long legs. Yep.
Longer legs. He's taller than me, and he walks fast anyway, and he does not wait for me. So he goes ahead. And I'm like on the hill. He's in one direction, and my mom's in the other direction, kind of starting to walk the opposite direction, and all of a sudden it registers that it's like dead silent. And I just have this moment. I yell to my mom. I said, do not go any further. Stay exactly where you are. No, like, do not move. Just stay where you are. Stay in my line of sight. Mark, you stay in my line of sight too. And he finds it right there wherever he was when I said it. Yeah. And then, which I don't even know how he found it. Like, I don't know what we were thinking going back for a 2-inch disc of plastic. Like, we would ever find it. So, it is black and the snow is white. Yeah.
But yeah.
And then we meet back up. Like, he comes back, catches up to me. We make it to the top of the hill. And all of a sudden I realize the birds are chirping again. And then I think that's when I fully registered that, like, it had been silent that whole time. And then they just started again. Because I don't really know when I recognized that it was quiet. But I just had this moment of, like, don't move. And then the birds start chirping. I'm like, Oh my god, wait a second. Something was off
Yeah.
there.